I missed my brother's wedding to go on vacation in Miami. My brother Tom and I have never had a really solid relationship. Due to our age gap, we didn't spend much time together, and by the time I was old enough to develop a personality, he had moved out of the house. For the last 2 years, my brother and his fiancée Sarah have been planning their wedding, and it's coming up in September. I was asked to be a bridesmaid. I figured I was only asked as a courtesy since I'm her soon to be sister in law, but I still took it seriously. I have been a bridesmaid for the last 2 years. Just a few weeks ago, I managed to save up to buy the $800 bridesmaid dress. Overall, in the last 2 years, between group outings to parties, dinners, lunches, clothes, etc., I spent thousands of dollars. Eventually, the girls in the wedding and I became extremely close, and I started to get hyped for the wedding. Sarah recently got close with her brother's wife, Becky. Last week, she dropped the ball on me that she no longer wants me to be a bridesmaid, and she would prefer if Becky would take my place. It broke my heart a little, but it's her wedding, and it's not my place to tell her how to run it, so I said it was fine. Yesterday, I went to my brother's house to pick up the bridesmaid's dress and was going to see if I could return it since it was within the time frame. Sarah was completely appalled and said that Becky was going to wear it since she and I are the same size. I said that would be fine, but they would have to pay me the $800 for it. Sarah said that Becky couldn't afford it and I should just be nice and let her use it, and said that I could keep it after the wedding. I explained that I'm not just giving away the dress, and I'm not ever going to use it after the wedding. After some bickering back and forth, I just ended up taking it and leaving. My brother and Sarah tried to compromise with me and say I could be the assistant flower girl, and I felt offended at the offer. After I said no, they then said that Becky could give me $250 for it. Again, no, and I returned the dress and got a full refund. I told them I understand that it's their wedding, but they are being extremely disrespectful to me, and I don't need to deal with it, and I'm not going to the wedding. Today, my coworker says she has an extra round-trip plane ticket to go to Miami that she'll sell to me for half price, plus I would have to pay for half the hotel, and I can go hang out with her in Florida. The only downside is that I'll be in Florida for the week of my brother's wedding. So, will I be the a-hole if I just go party in Miami instead of going to my brother's wedding? Response 1. NTA. Go to Miami. A wedding is not an event where a soon-to-be SIL and your own brother crap all over you and you smile and take it. Reply 1. A 26-year-old assistant flower girl? Really? How insulting. OP. One of the nice things about declining an invitation is that you need not give a gift. A card of congratulations is all etiquette requires. And I think you've already overspent, both literally and emotionally, on this wedding. Reply 2. If it's the original plan, an adult flower girl/boy can rock it. I've seen people do dances, throw petals at guests, just absolutely dial the silliness up to 11. But as an afterthought, potentially following a little girl, hell, no a-holes here. Go to Miami. Have a good time. Reply 3. I think it's the assistant part that got me. Maybe the bride was counting on her to babysit the official head flower girl? Reply 4. My parents were married in 1970, and they were hippies. They had a 30-year-old flower boy and got married in the Japanese gardens where I'm from. My favorite picture is of him skipping along in his loincloth, joyously flinging rose petals everywhere. Reply 5. My friend's wedding recently had the bride's 2 adult brothers as beer boys. They walked down the aisle with waistbands full of beer and handed them out to guests along the aisles. Response 2. NTA. They disrespected you, so you don't have to be there if you don't want to. They literally removed you as a bridesmaid after they had you spend so much money. I'm proud of you for returning the dress instead of letting them walk all over you and take it for free. You might not be able to ever be close with this brother if he finds out you chose partying in Miami over his wedding. Also may affect what parents/other family think of you, but not sure if any of that is relevant. Reply 1. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this was planned. They just happened to remove the bridesmaid that is the same size as Becky. They just happen to do it after OP has raised the money to buy the dress, and then they try to force OP to lend the dress to Becky or sell at an extreme discount because Becky can't afford it? Smells. I hope OP has an amazing time in Miami. It will certainly be more fun than going to a wedding for family members who think they can treat her like disposable garbage. Reply 2. Yeah, I was also thinking that their plan was they originally appointed OP as bridesmaid, so she'd buy the dress, and then they replace her and Becky gets the dress for free or cheaper. Reply 3. But she's been bridesmaid for 2 years, if I'm reading this correctly. That's a long game to play, and OP wasn't necessarily going to stay the same weight for those 2 years. And realistically, neither is Becky guaranteed to stay the same weight. They could grow to be 20 pounds plus different over the course of a year. Reply 4. I don't know, she's been bridesmaid for 2 years, saving up all that time. Not sure this SIL has it in her to play such a long con. Reply 5. This sounds so crazy and conspiratorial, but also, there's no cap on bridesmaids. If the bride really just wanted a new close friendship included, she could just have added another bridesmaid, and nobody would care. The fact that she's kicking one out makes me wonder. Response 3. NTA. They treated you with such disrespect that even if you didn't have a better offer, not going to the wedding is still the right choice. Reply 1. And what on earth is this assistant flower girl? Maybe it was soon-to-be Seal's plan from the start to replace OP with Becky as soon as OP has the bridesmaid's dress in hand. Imagine the sheer gall of someone to invite someone to your home and tell them they are no longer a part of the wedding party. But hey, wait, you can't take away the dress you brought with your own money and need to give it to the person you're being replaced with. This downright disrespect will not only make me not attend their wedding, but also go low contact or maybe no contact with them. OP, you're not the a-hole, but beware, these are the people who use you and then discard you. They will again return back to you since they'll need a free babysitter and family helps family. Reply 2. Maybe it was soon-to-be Sil's plan from the start to replace OP with Becky as soon as OP has the bridesmaid's dress in hand. I think Becky has already tried the dress on since they knew it would fit her perfectly. Not the a-hole. Reply 3. LOL. I wonder how closely OP checked the dress size before returning it. If it was delivered straight to SIL's house, OP may never have tried it on herself. Wouldn't be surprised if they ordered it in Becky's size. Response 4. NTA. How can someone logically conclude that it's okay to pass on a brand new dress without compensating the original owner, considering it's within return timeline? I mean, I just cannot get around that bit. Everything else, while carpty, I get how that can happen. But goddamn, the dress thing just doesn't make sense at all. Reply, and it makes sense if you think about how the bride waited until OP had saved up and bought the dress before firing her. That wasn't a coincidence. Reply 2. Oh yeah, good point. They really were just using OP. If it really easy to add another bridesmaid, because there are usually already ushers who can be used to even out the numbers. Even adding a personal attendant is easy, and that doesn't require a specific dress. Reply 3. Yeah, I had my mouth open while reading that part. She wanted OP to give away the $800 dress for free? Response 5. Go to Miami. Not the a-hole. Your brother and SIL are being terrible. They could just add another bridesmaid if there was suddenly a person that needed to be included, and at the very least should be paying you for the dress and other costs you already incurred for being a bridesmaid. Go sit on the beach in Miami, have a fun cocktail, swim in the ocean, and dance in the bars. You won't regret it. Reply 1. The reason they wouldn't just add another bridesmaid is because there isn't enough room at the table. Reply 2. Right, so the groom's sister is the bridesmaid that gets kicked out of the wedding party? It's so rude of them to spring this on you last minute and have the audacity to ask you to donate a $800 dress to the usurper. Incredibly rude. Reply 3. Right? She's the groom's blood relation. The bride's SIL is only a legal connection, one with whom they claim she wasn't even close. Reply 4. Nah, the reason they didn't add another bridesmaid is because your dress could fit Becky perfectly for $0. Reply 5. OP mentioned she went to her brother's place to pick up the dress. How much you want to bet they already had Becky over to try it on, and that's how they know they're the same size? Response 6. I was so ready to judge you, TA, from the title, but damn, your brother is doing you so wrong here. Not the a-hole. Response 7. How likely is it that this wasn't coincidence? Were you made bridesmaid so that you'd foot the bill for the dress for the new bridesmaid? You just happened to be the same size as the new bridesmaid? I don't buy it. Response 8. NTA. Outside of a malicious bridesmaid who doesn't support the wedding, there was no reason to kick you out of the wedding. She could have easily added a bridesmaid without asking someone to step down. It's appalling that she thought she could take the bridesmaid dress you paid for. It's her wedding, and she can do what she wants, but the consequence of being carpty to people is they don't want anything to do with you. Also, for your brother sucks. If I treated my husband's family like that, no matter how distant he was to them, we wouldn't have been married. Reply 1. This last bit hits home. When you are getting married, you are getting new family. I had my niece as one of my 2 bridesmaids as I wanted to include my new family. Response 9. NTA. They were completely out of line trying to take advantage of you. The assistant flower girl and $250 counteroffer from the brother and Sarah for an $800 dress is laughable. They should have covered the amount that Becky couldn't pay. If Becky could only afford $250, then Sarah and Tom should pay $550 on behalf of Becky to cover the balance. I definitely would not be going to that wedding after that. I would say as long as you don't flaunt that you are going on vacation to Miami instead of the wedding, you are not being an AH. Reply 1. If I was a pushover, I would have lost the $800 dress and had to have bought a new dress for the role of assistant flower girl. Reply 2. These people are just being plain awful to you. If I were OP, I'd go to Miami without telling anyone and post pics just before the wedding. Plus, I would be calling out the brother and future SIL as classless and mannerless, and also probably financially irresponsible if they can ask you to drop out and swap Becky in, but neither Becky nor bride and groom can afford the $800 dress required? Seriously, that's financially irresponsible on both sides. Don't make a commitment like that if you can't commit financially as well. Reply 3. NTA, not even a little. Hey, I know you've been a dutiful bridesmaid for the last 2 years and spent a bunch of money, but we'd like to drop you at the last minute for this in-law that I've just become close to, and I'd like you to throw away $800 for the privilege of not being in my wedding. That is some kind of carpty treatment. You are well within your rights to hard pass this event. Not sure how the dynamics have been prior to this, as you stated that you and bro aren't close, so perhaps this is a nothing problem. But will not going on top of not acquiescing about the bridesmaid dress make future family gatherings uncomfortable? And would that matter to you? You've been treated really badly, so badly that it's surprising other family members haven't stepped in to support you. This makes me wonder if the bad treatment will continue and slash or get worse. Reply 4. Trust me, family members won't step in except to say we tried to talk to him slash them. Everyone loves a wedding. The drama is for later or never. My brother uninvited me to his wedding a week after I came out, didn't have the balls to do it in person. He just told my sister to tell me. Entire family still went to the wedding, had a great time. My brother and I no longer speak, and my family still wants me to reach out to him. Never going to happen. Reply 5. F that. Flaunt it. They had no problem throwing her under the bus. She should enjoy her vacation in any way she wants. I'd be FaceTiming every phone there during the ceremony until someone picked up, if it were me. But I'm petty as hell. Response 10. Why didn't BTA? FSIL blew you off at short notice and then tried to con you out of $800, while your brother said nothing and went along with it. Going on vacation instead is ever so slightly an AH move, but is nothing compared to the way your FSIL treated you. Reply 1. That's not an AH move at all. She said she wasn't going to the wedding already. The vacation became an option after the fact. She's free to do with her now free time whatever she pleases without owing anyone an explanation. It's no different than still not going to the wedding of people who so clearly have zero respect or consideration for her or her feelings and sitting at home. There's zero malice in what she's doing, as opposed to what these two made for each other. AH did to her and were trying to scam her out of $800. This is what anyone with a shred of dignity and self-respect would do. Response 11, NTA. The entitlement of the bride is crazy. Expecting you to be okay with being dropped as a bridesmaid and then gifting an $800 dress is a slap in the face. Enjoy the vacay in Miami, laugh out loud. Reply 1, but it's their wedding. Wah. Everybody needs to do what they're told and shut up. I hate that it's their wedding stuff. A wedding is actually to bring the families together. I don't see this happening. Go have fun. It's much better than going to a wedding you're not wanted at. Assistant flower girl? That's an insult. Give away at $800 dress to someone who doesn't even like you? NTA. You're too nice for even wondering if you're the TA. You should go to Miami and then really distance yourself from these people. They're awful. Response 13. As someone that is not from the USA, I don't really understand how does this all bridesmaid, maid of honor works. From what I see, it required for you to spend money on wedding-related things and events. And I think that Sarah should have taken that into consideration when she told you to give your place to Becky. Don't understand why it couldn't be both of you. I think that you were right to ask for the money, especially because if you gave away your dress, then you'd have to go get another one. Since Sarah doesn't even consider you that close, and you say you are not close to your brother, and that this trip feels more appealing to you, I'd say go on that trip and just give them a present later, only if you feel bad for not going. Not the a-hole. Response 14, NTA. If you've already decided not to go, what does it hurt if you're in Miami? Your relationship with your brother will still need fixing when you get back, so make sure to send a thoughtful card in your absence. Reply 1. You're absolutely correct. Brother will need to put some work in to fix this, starting with an apology for trying to con his little sister. Response 15. NTA. If you have records for your expenses, add them up and send her a letter of demand for her to repay you. Make it due before the wedding. Go to Miami. If she doesn't pay you back for everything, sue her in small claims. It's amazing your brother would marry such a jerk. For him to let her behavior towards you go on makes him one too. Response. Forgive me, but I'm not entirely clear on what you're identifying as the downside. Seems like you'll be resting/relaxing beachside, avoiding family drama. That is certainly not downside in my world. Don't get me wrong. I love my family. Well, most of the time anyways. But if we were really expected to be tied to our families forever, we wouldn't have friends. You know, those people who actually care about us. Response 17. I've often borrowed the statement that being an AH isn't always a bad thing. Good for you for sticking up for yourself. That shows substantially more confidence than I had at your age. If a stay in the sun sounds like fun to you, go for it. As to the aftermath, your brother and FSIL have already established how concerned they are about your feelings. They may feign disappointment or even attempt to make you the villain, but that would likely be so they don't look like the jerks they are. Also, don't fall for the wedding stress explanation if they try to patch things up. True character is revealed in the choices a human being makes under pressure. Response ATA. If you go to that wedding, I guarantee you'll be subjected to awful behavior from the bride and Becky. The way they've acted here suggests they'll at minimum look to publicly snub you, at worst subject you to constant passive-aggressive comments, and have various flying monkeys join in. Leave them to their drama and go enjoy yourself. Response 19. Sounds like Sarah set you up to pay for Becky's dress, and your brother went along with it. Go to Miami. Have fun. Post lots of pics of your great vacation on their wedding day, and thank them for helping you pay for it by saving for the dress they tried to scam you out of. Response 20. NTA. Future SIL has a lot of audacity. They didn't even ask, they assumed, and then freaked out when you didn't let them walk all over you. Listen, go to Miami, but before you do, cover your bases. If you're close with your folks, be the one to inform them of the situation. Let your side of things come out before theirs. With the way they handled things, I wouldn't be surprised that they would try to turn you into the bad guy in their story.